Welcome to Educators in VR's XR News. Today we have a special event. For each of us up here, VR has changed our lives in so many ways, including turning fans into hosts.
I arrived in 2021 when one of the hosts suddenly had to leave the show with only 2 days warning.
I joined the show in 2023 after guest hosting and helping with the reporting and script. I never thought I'd be on a show like this, ever, but here I am.
That's true. That's true. And Toby, I need to point out Toby. There's Toby up on the screen there, who's also a part of our show. We hear from Toby quite often, so now you get to see Toby.
Aww.
And
That's what you're
yeah, isn't that cute? We love Toby. And I've been here since the beginning of time, since 2018, as a scriptwriter, host, and producer. And I can't believe I'm still here. Doing the show every week after all these years, but I'm here.
Okay, everybody. So today we're asking you in our studio audience to share how VR has changed your lives, because it has changed all our lives. So think about that.
We want you to share your memories, your insights, and your thoughts on the impact of VR on your life, on your work, everything.
And maybe even your relationships. I mean, after all, many of us have found our best friends here in VR.
Absolutely. Now, if you can't join us here in the studio, you can still get caught up with this and every episode by subscribing to our YouTube channel and all of our social media. All the links are at educatorsinvr.com.
The XR News is produced by Educators in VR and run by volunteers. Thank you so much to our partners and supporters who keep us going, including the Reinhardt Foundation, Girls STEAM Institute, iLearn, Virtual World Society, Vertexborn 3D, Cadets Metaverse, and Bridgemakers. A special thanks goes to Engage XR for their continued support, which allows us to do this show every week here. If you or your company would also like to sponsor the XR News, please contact us at educatorsinvr.com.
Now, Educators in VR has undergone several reboots over the years. With the closure of AltSpace VR, we did some serious remodeling, updating the show to be more modern and expanding our reach. That's when News and Updates became XR News. And we wanted to share with you a look back at that endeavor, and then we're going to talk about XR itself and stuff, because it continues to change the lives of so many people. So here's a video from a couple years ago announcing our change, but also telling you a little bit about the history and how it impacted us. Lance?
Welcome to the story of XR News. In 2018, XR News was a spark of an idea for producer Mark to give back to the community and bring the latest news from across the metaverse in AltSpace VR. News and Updates showcased the latest VR hardware and events and accessories, games, apps, and social VR platforms. We brought you the latest news inside and outside the metaverse. XR News was there through, the good times. And of course, we were there through the bad. We have done over 400 episodes, 540 hours of video, and so many pages and words just for you. In 2023, we evolved from News and Updates to XR News and brought it to Engage XR, bringing you the interviews with XR professionals and community leaders, and we expanded to include XR News Med Health Edition with Rachel D. And the XR News Innovation Spotlight with the amazing Maxwell McGee, Chris Mattson, and Dr. Tom Furness, the grandfather of virtual reality. Join us in Engage XR where we bring you the news on Wednesdays to explore all the news from across the metaverse.
So, today we're doing something a little different, maybe even necessary. XR has changed, the metaverse has changed, and we've changed along with them.
You know, instead of chasing metaverse headlines, we're going to step back and we're going to take a look at what XR, VR, AR, all of this, and how the metaverse, how has it been for you, and most of all, how has it affected you real people, y'all right there? How has that really impacted your life?
You know, I think the conversation around XR, it's always been about two layers. On one layer, there's the hype, the promises, the buzzwords, the giant visions of fully immersive digital worlds, universal virtual offices, a future where everyone lives part of their lives inside of a headset.
Right, but the other layer is the practical reality, the classrooms, the training simulators, the world building, the medical practice tools, social experiences. All of these things have kept quietly moving forward, whether or not the headlines noticed, right?
Yes, so I agree with that. So where do we begin?
Well, XR roots go back decades, back to early experiments in immersive simulations, stereoscopic imagery, and head-mounted displays, changing many lives along the way. Thanks to our own Tom Furness, yes, the grandfather of virtual reality, he pioneered immersive displays for over 5 decades, from the very first U.S. Air Force Darth Vader helmet, visually coupled super cockpit systems, to the foundations of modern AR and the XR industry today.
XR has come a long way, baby. And yes, along the way, it has absolutely changed lives in more ways than we can count. It's changed our lives, and we know that it's changed your lives.
So how has VR changed your life? The video camera's on, and we're here to hear your stories and share our stories.
So how has VR changed your life? And if XR, you know, XR may not have become everything that people once predicted or hoped for, but it's become more. It's become different. It's become something much more interesting and important. It's become useful, and you know that may be the bigger story that we want to share. So,
well, I think I can start us off. I was born 2 months too soon.
Yeah, wait a minute. Wait, we only have an hour.
Okay.
That's
okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. No. I'm not going to tell my whole life story. Let's just say for 61 years, I lived a 2D life in a 3D world. I lacked any idea of what depth perception looked like. When I got Google's first VR device called Cardboard and popped my phone into it, straining to get something I'd never seen out of it, it woke something up in me. The blind side of my right eye became sight. 6 months later, I walked out of a 3D movie presentation of Star Trek Beyond into a whole new world. And every time I've been in VR since then, my sense of depth has become, well, deeper, better. How's that for a bit of tech changing your life? Karen, Laurel, how about you guys?
Hey, Karen.
Well, you know, when my parents were still alive and I was helping to take care of them, I'd come back over to my house at night, and I was following Twitter. I was following politics and technology, and you know, I saw what was going on with VR, and I saw the Google Cardboard thing, and I thought, you know, it was cheap. It was, I don't know what it was, $20-$30. I thought, wow, yeah. So I got it. I ordered it. Came to the house, I tried it on, and I went into the native app on that. I couldn't really get anything else to work, but I went into the native app and it totally wowed me. I mean, totally. And then I went with my brother and his kids to Universal Studio, I don't know, it was shortly after that, I think. And we went on the Harry Potter 3D ride, and that just blew me away. And then
Wow.
I got the Go, and I,
The
I was
Oculus
just
Go.
gonna the Oculus Go, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna test it out. If nothing else, I'll just watch some movies. And then I really stumbled into AltSpace, and the rest is history. I have a story around that too, but it's too long to tell.
Well, we may get around with
How about you, Laurel?
Well, I'll share my story, but I want to open up to the audience. So we're going to unlock the mics, and I want to hear from you all, because I got a million ways that VR has changed my life. But I want to hear from you all. How has it changed your life? And I think one of the best persons I want to start with is Lance. You want to share? Because you got a big story.
Yeah, so when I first, came into AltSpace, I was very unsociable and my panic attacks were extreme, pretty high, making it so I actually couldn't go outside. Well, now I can tell you I'm almost 1,000 miles from where I first was when I first came into AltSpace.
No kidding.
It has drastically changed to the point that I'm doing what I'm doing right now, talking. I remember when I first went into AltSpace after I found it, someone nice came up to me. It was a community helper. They were trying to be polite and said, "Hello, welcome." I screamed and ran. I was muted. They didn't but trust me, I screamed and I ran. I was not ready to talk to anybody. I was just curious, popping in to see how it is. And then next thing you know, I find something I love, which is scary, horror. And it was Educators in VR's World Hop, but it was for the haunted house to become a scarer. And the realm, my name, I'm not gonna say what my name was. My name was different, but she pointed it out.
It was
and said a
obscene.
name like this name here is not appropriate. I freaked out,
dear.
but the thing I did
remember
though is unmuted and simply said, "Don't worry, I can change it." It was the first thing I've ever actually said in VR. And that started it. But I will be honest though, the haunted house that we did helped out a lot because I was able to, let's say, play a character, which was Chucky, which helped me actually come out and actually talk a lot more. And since then, I started helping out. I became a community helper 3 months being in AltSpace, helped out with AltSpace 101, made tons of friends. Now I torment Karen when I get a chance. And now, I go all over the place. So, and now,
And we can't
thanks
shut
to
him up.
all this, exactly.
Making up for
But
lost
thanks
time.
to a lot of this, I've been able to do a lot of real world stuff. I now am able to go out more. I'll be actually riding in a airplane very first time in a month, so that's going to be kind of scary, but at the same
First
time,
time by
I'm very
yourself.
excited. So yeah, by
Yes.
myself.
Second
First
time on an
with
airplane.
Laurel,
He
so.
didn't walk those 1,000 miles. Just
No. So, but yeah, so that's definitely VR's changed my life dramatically. And actually,
Cool.
just 3 years, actually.
Yeah, boy, a little longer than 3 years, but close enough. Very cool. Stance of Trees, how about you?
Yeah, well, I was one of those one of the people who got into VR because of the pandemic. And so, I wanted to I was thinking about continuing to be social during the lockdown. And so, I came up with VR, right? VR is a way to be social and safe during the pandemic, and so wandered, bought my first headset, a Quest, and wandered into Altspace, and the rest is history. I met Laurel, and she, you know, one of the things that we always say about Laurel is, if you stand around her long enough, she'll put you to work. So,
That's true.
Oh, we can vouch for that.
Yeah.
and so, yeah, I came into, or I went into, Karen has told this story many times. I went into Altspace, an Altspace 101, and which Karen and Rich were moderating, and that's how I met Karen and her brother.
Mhm.
And yeah, I met Laurel through that, and ended up working with educators in VR and becoming a community helper in Altspace, and
that's when you
doing
met
all
me and
kinds
taught me how to
of,
fly.
Yeah.
taught Steph how to fly, and I even learned how to be one of the, or I should say, along with Lance, the best moderator in the metaverse. So,
Absolutely.
there you go.
Nobody better. Those two are the best on the planet. Yay. Oh, we'd love you. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right, let's open it up. How about the rest of you? Who wants to go first? How has it changed your life? How's VR changed your life? Oh, come on.
Too personal?
I can go.
Too personal? All right, go for it.
Okay. So in late 2021, I started going to occupational therapy, and they put a VR headset in there. Like first week of January, they put VR headset on me and had me do this meditation software called Trip. And it was the first time in my life that meditation has ever worked, and I was just blown away by that.
Wow.
I went out that weekend to Costco and bought a Oculus 2, which I'm wearing now. It's just I have still the same headset.
Yay, it's still working.
It's still working. And then like a week or two after that, Evolver from Altspace and Trip merged. And so I went into Altspace because of that. And otherwise I would have never gone in there. Why would I go? I was only intended to do the meditation, which was in itself life-changing, let me tell you. So
Yes.
but then I'm going into Outspace, and I found a support group, a neurodiverse support group, and I started going to that, and I started meeting other people, but I would just pretty much stick to that. I was like Lance, if I went into a room and other people were there, I kind of left, just like, I was really not, I don't know how to interact. I didn't really understand like a lot of the Altspace stuff that you guys all talk about, and I missed a lot of it because it was 2022 by that time. So I only got like maybe a year of Altspace. But I think the thing that really changed my life as far as VR goes is I took the day off, the day Altspace was going to be shut down, and I sat in there, and then after, I just on a whim I went into VR chat, and all the people were there, and I just started friending everybody, and people started inviting me to things, and it's just like, I feel like I just started crying because like all of the people who were like friending me and inviting me to stuff and getting me involved and being so welcoming and everything, and now I feel like I have friends all over the world, and it feels really good. So.
It's amazing, isn't it?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for
that's
sharing
beautiful. That's
Yes.
Oh, and one other thing is when I went into Altspace, I was like having a hard time with it because this whole VR stuff is so new to me. So I went to the Outspace 101 and Stands with Trees, and Karen were the ones teaching me how to do everything. So, like, I probably wouldn't even have been able to go to the neurodiverse support group if it wasn't for them. So anyway, there you go.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, that's wonderful. And Mike, you're gonna be at the event this afternoon, later in a couple hours too.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so coming up in a couple hours, we're going to be in VR chat talking about neurodiversity, but social anxiety and how VR can help. So Mike's going to talk about his experience again there. So come join us. So I love that. See, we're changing lives all over the place. That's
absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, Rich Moore, I know that VR has definitely changed your life. So are you with us? You want to share? We'd love to hear.
I think he might be busy with his kids.
Okay. Yep. He comes.
Yeah.
That was always a risk. We'll see. Dawn, how about you?
Well, my origin story with VR was this was during the pandemic, early 2021. I had gotten exposure to VR through the Sony PlayStation and had the first Sony PlayStation VR headset. And around that time, I was at work. I was touring a department that used gaming and VR to make care for pediatric patients easier for them. And so I got to see all the different VR equipment that was donated to the hospital. And I asked the question, I'm like, oh, I've got a Sony PlayStation headset. You know, what would you recommend as an alternative or something different? And he said the Quest 2. And so, you know, of course, I, you know, immediately went and got a Quest 2. But he also said to me, well, when you get a Quest 2, check out AltSpace. And I'm like, AltSpace?
Okay.
What's AltSpace? And he's like, it's hard to describe, but just check it out.
True.
And, you know, let me know. And, you know, when you do and what you think of it. And so I did check out AltSpace. And one of the first things I did was went into AltSpace 101 with Lance and Laurel. And I remember fumbling, and Laurel's like very patient with me. No, you have to, you know, click this button. No. So, but AltSpace introduced me to, you know, other VR enthusiasts. I learned about Unity and how to develop with Unity, how to build worlds. But more importantly, it's that, you know, connection with other people worldwide, which I have never gotten the chance to do. So
yeah,
I love digital creation and just hearing and seeing other people's efforts and exchange of information, and not for any reason other than to share and have fun and be creative. There's, you know, there's no, you know, ulterior motives, and I've just met so many different people, and, you know, got sucked in by Laurel's, you know, whirlpool.
I like that better than
That's
the
a
stand next
kind
to
way to
use
put
the
it.
whirlpool. Yeah, I like that better.
So it really did change my life. So made it much richer.
Wow.
So
Awesome. That's wonderful.
and I never did connect with that individual in AltSpace. So I don't know, but I wouldn't have known about it, you know, had he not directed me that way.
But still, that is awesome. I love that.
It
I love
is.
that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you never know where those connections are and where those ties are. And what a weird thing to just somebody say, oh, here's, get a headset. And by the way, stop in at AltSpace. That's kind of cool.
But we can't describe what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You'll just
what
have
is
to
it?
check it out.
Yeah, which unfortunately has been the story of our lives, hasn't been? It's like explaining social VR, explaining AltSpace, and then now trying to explain VR chat or even Engage. Engage is easy for me. VR chat is like, I don't even.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to go. All right, thank you. Rich, are you back? We'd love to hear from you.
I think he's got background
He's got a
noise
kid on
right
his
now.
lap.
He'll get it worked out. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. He was waving his hand earlier. I want to make sure that he got a chance. Okay.
All right, Rich, you let us know
Rich,
when
you
you're
back?
ready.
Yeah. All right. So Peter, and George, we're waiting to hear from you. How has VR changed your life? Would love to know.
Well, apology for being so delayed, but we had some emergency at work, so I came like
That's
really,
okay.
really just like 5 minutes ago. But anyway, I mean, I don't know what was already said, but to me, actually, I've been using VR
It's
for
your
like
experience.
yeah, yeah. I've been using VR for like last I think 4 years, and it has it had, besides the work and other stuff, it like which has a huge impact. But it did change a lot of my private time, how I spend it. Both how I socialize with people that I would never meet normally. Like we are like miles away from each other, and still there is this connection thanks to VR. Would probably not experience that by Teams or Meets or Skype before or something. That gives another dimension, which makes it more interesting and fun. And also, I met actually two people in VR a year ago that actually we became a great friends. One is from Belgium, and another is from Germany, and we actually met a few times already.
Oh, wonderful!
And yeah, so it was like very. It's cool, yeah. It's a lot of things which I'm trying when you are trying to explain people who are not using VR why you are using VR. They are like, oh, it's too cartoonish for socializing and or too complicated. And we're like, no, it's not that complicated. And you don't really mind how the avatar looks like. I mean, sure, there is a place for improvement but you find something else in that and the connection and the way how people communicate, and that's a very cool thing. And yeah, so it has changed a lot in the last 4 years, especially the group of people that I know, that I meet, and that kind of I'm influenced by, including you guys. That's a very good thing.
It's the friends you never would have met otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I love it when you meet people in person. And I have been friends for several years with a friend in AltSpace, and we were talking one day, and he was late for an event that he was hosting, but I was helping. And so I opened up and allowed people into the event, and he came in and he said, I'm sorry, Highway 26 was just jam-packed with an accident. What? Highway 26? How many Highway 26s are there in the world? Not, oh, there's plenty. And so afterwards I said, which Highway 26? He goes, oh, it's also known as the Sunset Highway. And I, oh, you live near me. All these years, and I had no idea that he was literally like 5-8 miles away from me.
Wow.
We just both laughed our butts off, but I had no idea. And that's happened over and over again. It's really, it's just amazing that you could meet somebody and you think they're living, somewhere exotic, and they're just like down the street. So how cool. I love that. All right, Rich, we're giving you another chance. Rich Moore, are you back? He's not back. Okay, that's the joy of having too many kids.
Oh, don't put it that way.
Yeah, I know, but it's the interrupt. I didn't say anything bad. I just said it's interruptions.
He
All
would
right.
agree with you 100%, Laurel.
I know. Yeah, it's just the interruptions. George, how about you?
We got VR before the virus for doing 3D design in SketchUp because sometimes it was really tedious trying to work on 3D models on a flat screen. It would get really frustrating sometimes.
Oh.
So we got a couple of headsets, and it's amazing to be inside the model while you're working on it instead of sitting there struggling with the flat screen. So it was great, and then began to discover some really amazing educational experiences in STEAM, and then somehow stumbled into AltSpace. Back then, our internet was nowhere near good enough for that, but it was okay for AltSpace most of the time. And well, what can I say about AltSpace? Amazing community. Really sad when it shut down. And then, the virus came, and I think it's what kept me sane, because we were really lucky here, because even when we were not allowed to go anywhere, we could still be outside in our yard. We just couldn't go out on the sidewalk. So we were luckier than a lot of people elsewhere. But I think with the VR, being able to associate with the international community really, kept me going. And here a lot of people live in a very small world. Even though most people have a smartphone, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to access whether it's university courses or all kinds of information. They said that she wanted to learn a whole bunch of stuff, so I asked her about using AI to help her learn, and she said, I can't afford that. But I'd already seen her phone screen. She had like icons for 3 or 4 AIs on her screen, and she didn't know what they were. I guess maybe someone else loaded them, or it was a used phone or whatever. I said, "You've already got them here." It's like sometimes I just want to, beat my head against the wall. So it's really interesting to be, part of the international community, and it's not just virtual. Like back when there was no air travel, we needed to do underwater 3D video of replanted corals, and there were no 3D video cameras imported and order anything because there was no air travel. So maybe you remember Mr. Pete in AltSpace. He told me about how easy it is to put together my own 3D camera. So I now had 2 video streams side by side. I couldn't figure out the editing software, how to get it all lined up and synchronized.
But you did.
Whose avatar had pink hair. Olga from Kazakhstan. And when she connected to my computer, she actually had pink hair. So,
That's pretty common.
so she helped with the editing. So as a result of AltSpace, we were able to do a usable underwater 3D video without a 3D video camera. And I made a 3D printed holder to hold the 2 cameras side by side at the right distance. So, I find it's there's a real merger of the virtual and the real.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what to expect now. It's just an amazing journey.
Well,
Yeah, it sure is.
It is an amazing journey, and it's been fascinating to be a part of it, without a doubt. I love that. Rich, are you with us?
Yes. Yeah, hear me. Can everybody hear me?
All right.
Yes, we can, Rich. Yay.
Yeah. I had to fix my audio settings. Yeah. So where do I start? Let's see. I want to start when I I was a gamer. In the beginning, I was a real gamer. I had all the video game consoles that you can imagine. But the latest one, when PS4 had came out, I got it, and then I turned into a hardcore gamer. So I was always gaming. But then something changed. I seen a commercial about some type of device that you could put your smartphone on. It back then, this was when VR first started. You put like your smartphone, you take the piece off and you put your smartphone on it, and then the headset, you put it in your head, and you in VR. So I was like very interested. I'm like, wow, this is some new technology. That's amazing. You know what I mean? Even though I'm a fanatic with technology. I loved new technology. When it first come out, it's like I have to have it, you know. So after a while, you know, when I bought it, it was interesting. And then that's when the Go came out. And I was like, wow, okay, so now they have a device where you don't have to use your smartphone. So let me go ahead and try that out. So when I had bought the Go and I tried it, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this right here is next level. This right here is like, it blew me out the water, back in the water, and back out the water. So so right, I was like, okay, to fast forward my story, the Quest 2 had came out, and I was like, oh my gosh. So then I was like, trying different games out in VR, and I started learning more and more about what VR is and stuff like that. And in the beginning, I was just playing VR games, and I was like blown away. I had to share with everybody, my friends, my brothers, sisters, everybody I knew. I had to share what, you know, virtual reality, VR. I had to share with everybody, and a lot of my family wasn't interested. They were like, man, that's gonna cause me motion sickness and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what y'all missing. Y'all better get with the program when technology, or you're gonna get left behind. So fast forward, this is when the pandemic came out, and this when I found alt space. I'm like, let me just look up and see if they got some type of social apps that I can go in and meet people. And I didn't know they did until I found alt space. So then when I found Allspace, I downloaded and everything like that, and I was like, oh, this probably ain't gonna be, you know, as I expected it. But when I went in there, oh my gosh. It's like I was so blown away, because it's like I started meeting people that's, you know, that was like on the other side of the world. And I'm like, how is this even possible to even meet people that's on the other side of the world, and you in your house, and they in another world on the other side of the world in their house? I'm like, how's this possible? So I started meeting more and more people, and I started learning more and more about Allspace and stuff. Then once I started doing that, guess what? The hardcore gamer I was became a thing of the past. I had to put down the joystick. I had to put down the controller. It got so addicted. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't play my PS4 no more. I can't play my PS5 no more. I have to, every day, I went into Allspace every day. And it's like, it became a routine for me. And I was like, oh my gosh. That's when I met Karen, and then she told me about the Cadets Metaverse group. And I was like, oh, At first I was nervous, because I didn't know how to present myself to like different people or a group of people. So I was kind of nervous to like really meet a group of people and be a part of it. But then after she introduced me to everybody, I'm like, okay, this is cool. All right. I love to be a part of a community. I'm a part of a community now. So I felt great. I felt excited and happy and jumping with joy. And I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. This is my life. This is going to be my life from now on. So ever since I've All Space closed, I was so hurt. I was crying. I was so devastated. My heart was like shattered into pieces. So I was like, I would never see my friends again that I met, and all my friends I met is gonna be gone. That's when I found about VR chat and how we all came together. We all transferred and went over to VR chat and continued our friendship. And to this day, it grew stronger and stronger and stronger. So yes, VR definitely changed my life and for the better, definitely for the better. And now my kids is getting interested in it and it's passing on to generation to generation. You know what I mean?
As soon as
And
they turn
it's
16. As soon as they turn 16.
Right, exactly.
Now with the new laws.
So exactly. So yeah, so it's gonna be here forever, and it's just gonna grow from here. VR is just gonna grow from here, and a lot of more people is gonna, get accustomed to it by Quest headsets, and it's just gonna get bigger, and it's gonna become like real big. So I want to position myself right now, so when they explode and take off, then I'm gonna take off with it. So that's my life. Yeah.
All right.
Good
Beautiful.
attitude.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you,
Thank
Rich. That was wonderful.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
And I know Jinx is back in. We'd love to hear from you, because I know you got stories. How has VR changed your life? And you missed some pictures of you and also Yunji in all of the pictures we're showing behind. So how? We'd love to hear.
Test 1 2. Is this working?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Oh gosh, where do I start? VR's changed a lot about my life, actually. Of course, before everyone knew me on alt space and stuff, I was already just kind of interested in VR, but didn't really get a chance to really move forward with it. I don't know, too many people might have remembered, an old platform that's still around, Second Life.
Oh, yeah.
It had a VR in it at one point in the beginning. It was really, really terrible, but I attempted to try to go and use, just see what it's like with like little art shows and art installations they had back when they had art installations there. And it piqued my interests more and more, and eventually after discovering alt space and really going headfirst into it, I really started to realize that there was a chance for people to be able to communicate outside of just a two-dimensional space, if you will. Mostly it's really hard for people who can't really, for lack of better words, who can't leave their chair, who can't leave their house, and can't really socialize as often as they would want to. And I mean, that's mostly, with me, I was kind of stuck at home. I had no choice. And so being able to be part of, VR, it allowed me to still have a social life, to be able to converse with people. And I got to talk with people from all over the world, which, some people say, oh yeah, you get to do that in the chat rooms. No. It's so different when you meet people and hear them and see them reacting, waving their hand or moving around, hearing the different cadences, seeing the spaces they build. It really was just an eye-opening thing. And for me, it drove me to this passion of wanting to be a part of VR, which is why I became, I applied to become a moderator in alt space and eventually became one. But it still kept driving me beyond that, because I wanted to include VR and XR and other things, other passions. Like, how can I adapt this to architecture? How can I adapt this to landscape? How can I apply this, if I want to show off something to clientele, or, whatever the case may be. I mean, the ideas were wild. They're definitely, the sky's the limit. That used to be my old saying, was the sky is always the limit, and we can never reach the sky.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it allowed me to experience all of this new stuff and all these new avenues of being able to really experience the world in a different way. That of course slowly garnered me to gain so many friends that I've gained over the years now. Each one of them having, their own stories as well, their own backgrounds, and we are all able to share in things, learn about each other, even going as, and some people might remember it, there were spaces where, oh, hey, we wish we knew what it was like to be in downtown Paris near the Eiffel. There's a VR space. We can go walk around it. Oh, I wonder what it was like to go through this museum. There's a VR space. We can walk through it. Places you didn't think you could ever go, now you can visit it. And it's just, I don't know, it changed my whole perspective on what was possible in the world and what we could do, even, like I said, as a person who can't really leave their home.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is.
I love that. I love that. This is wonderful. I've been thinking about all the things you said, and then watching these amazing slides, up on the screen that remind me, of things that we used to do, and the fun, all the fun and the people and things. And every day of my life with Educators in VR and in VR in general changes me in so many ways. But I only have time for 2 quick stories. First one, very short. Years ago, I was using the Samsung Gear, and one of my best friends, who I'd known for many years, had come to visit. And we'd been doing things all day long, and she ended up with a bit of a headache. She was just tired, worn out, and from travel and things. And so she said she was going to go to bed early, and the bedroom was downstairs. So she left. I still had some energy, so I grabbed my Samsung Gear, went into AltSpace. The next day, she came up and she said, "I heard you last night." I'm thinking, oh my God, what did I say? I heard you all the way downstairs. I heard you laughing. And I have never heard you laugh like that or that much. And I said, "I'm sorry if I woke you up. I'm just sorry." She goes, No, none of that. I came up and I even peeked on you. She said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You need to laugh more." And in VR, it's really easy to laugh because there's so much stupid. It's so much good stupid everywhere you look. There's something dumb and ridiculous that's happening. And so I love that. That was good advice. The other story is one that I've told often because it was probably one of the most profound experiences. And that was one of the first things people do when they come in to build is to build something familiar. Usually it's their bedroom, it's their classroom, it's whatever they know that's familiar to them. And I own a very small tree forest, and so tree farm, and so I built a forest paths wandering around, and I was still building it when these 3 women came in and said, "This is cool. What can you do here?" And I said, "You walk around in the trees." I said, "Okay, can you climb them?" Hadn't thought about that. I don't have really climbing trees around my house. They're for wood and paper and things. And building homes, it's not climbing trees. And I said, "I don't know, let's find out." So we ended up trying to figure out how to teleport to climb a tree. I mean, how do you climb a tree in VR? You have to teleport up into the tree. So we're teleporting, trying to find, where can you get traction and stuff. And we're laughing and we're laughing and we're laughing. And we get up to the top, and one of them said, "Now what?" And I said, "I don't know, jump off." And so we jumped off, and the way I jumped off, I bounced from limb to limb to limb. I didn't just fall. I bounced down the tree. I slid down the trees. And oh my God, we were laughing so hard. Honestly, I wet my pants. I kid you not. I could not stop laughing. And as soon as we got down to the bottom, we all went, "Do it again!" And we did it over and over and over and over again. And I that held on to that. And the lesson I learned was really powerful. And it's based on this phrase I use when I'm teaching, that if you want to get someone's attention, you either need to show them something they've never seen before or show it to them in a way they've never seen before. And that's what VR does. But it does something more. It works. It's magic. We know that, right, Karen Steph? We know
Yes,
it's magic.
absolutely.
It's absolutely magic. And so how do we define that magic? And I realized at the time, Harry Potter was all the rage. And I analyzed why it was so popular. Why was Harry Potter so popular? And it's because there's a little wizard inside of all of us, right? At one time or another, we want that wand. We want the wiggle our nose. We want to wave our hand and have magic happen. And in VR, not only can we do that, why the Harry Potter series was so successful is because it tapped into both adults and children. It tapped in to our inner child. VR lets our inner child and our inner magician free. We get to play again. And when we get to play, that's when the magic happens. And that's when learning happens, when awe and wonder and transformative experiences happen, is when we connect that adult back with the inner child. And that's just inherent in VR, right? It really is. And that's why I say I love the stupid with 2 O's, because that's what allows us to be a kid again. So that once I understood that, everything changed for me. And that's when I realized why it works as an educational tool and one, and that defined my life. So anyway, that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. So have I missed any? I think we've got everybody in the audience. I am so thrilled that you all were here to share with us, to tell your story. Right, ladies? I mean, anything you want to add?
Yes. I just want to say that my 3 best friends are right here in this audience.
Yay!
Richmore, Lance, and Matthew. And my brother, who's invisible. Of course, he's my best friend too. But I don't know. They all of them, including my brother. I mean, they've all changed my life. They've enriched my life. And I would never have met them, except for my brother, obviously. I never would have met them if it hadn't been for VR.
Yeah, it's true. I would have never met you two.
That's right.
We
wouldn't be here doing this show together, this awesome show.
Yeah, and I would have missed out on absolute life-changing experience. Oh, I'm going to start crying. God. I hate this.
Don't do that.
Okay, yeah. But
we got to close this show out.
I know. But I would have really, truly missed out on life-changing experiences just that came through the relationship. Steph, last words or thoughts?
Oh, there's too much. Oh, now you're getting to me too.
Yeah, I know. I honestly, looking at all the pictures and things that were, up on the screen and stuff, brought back so many memories of collaborative experiences that go beyond multiplayer gaming. It's truly collaborative. To see the parade floats we used to do, all of the holiday storytelling, and where everybody teamed together, and we'd have like 14 people building a world for an event and experience. And I don't know if y'all saw, because I don't know if I have a static picture of it, but the Pokemon Go thing, I think I maybe threw it in. I think it's in a video. Well, it's in the video, but I'm going to stop the video. That character, whoops. Here, that's it's in the beginning of the video. All right, anyway. there's a Pokemon Go character that that had, I don't even know how many. We had a long list of people who helped me create that for my husband. Actually, it was a parade float, and using only geometrics and a few trees and stuff. It was amazing in all space. So that kind of teamwork is beautiful in relationships. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
All right. Yay. Okay, we could go on forever with all of this. I want to thank all of you for really opening up and sharing your love and support for VR and for us being part of our community. Thank you to all of our team members who also contributed some images for our discussion, and all the members of AltSpace that have contributed to, and other platforms who've within our multiple communities who contributed to a lot of the images that we used in the video. Over the years for different ones that we ran, the different slides and things that we ran. So I want to thank every of them. This is an amazing show. All right, next week is going to be amazing. We have the team from Ficus Korea is going to be coming back. They were on a panel. Now they're coming back to have a solo show with Rachel D and our XR News Med Health Edition. Ficus Korea is a South Korea-based metaverse company that is working here in Engage XR, building virtual environments for education, professional training, and cross-cultural connection with the use of AI, and they're changing medicine and medical training in so many beautiful, beautiful ways. So join us next Wednesday right here in Engage XR.
And XR News is produced by educators in VR and our XR News volunteer team weekly here in Engage XR. We've been bringing you the news from across the metaverse since 2018, and we're still rolling. We meet weekly for news and Engage XR with the news you need to know.
And please do not miss not only tomorrow with Rachel D, but also we have the Innovation Spotlight on the third Wednesday of the month with Maxwell McGee, Chris Mattson, Dr. Tom Furness, and they all dive into deep topics along with special guests who are reinventing the immersive technology industry.
Each of our shows is filmed for YouTube, so subscribe and share with your friends. Keep up with the news and help us share the news from around the metaverse. And in the meantime, join the Educators in VR Discord and social media channels to find links to what we highlight in the show and much more about the metaverse and immersive education.
And thank you to all of our educators in VR, partner sponsors and supporters of XR News, including iLearn, the Reinhardt Foundation, Girls Team Institute, Virtual World Society, Cadets Metaverse, Vertex Form 3D, Bridge Makers, and Engage XR. And by the way, we're going to be talking about this in the next show. Vertex Form 3D has gone WebXR, so they have it's Unity-based WebXR, really exciting. We'll be talking about that later. We're also looking for volunteers who help us make this news possible, so come join us.
And you can tell we have a lot of fun. So
Yay!
let's not forget to give credit where it's due. We couldn't do this show without the hard work of those who gather the news from across the metaverse industry for a living, sometimes for a living, hopefully, including our XR News reporters. Thank you to all of you out there toiling in the metaverse.
And, you know, again, it takes a village to do this. Every time we get to this closing part, I want to cry. We have so many people who make this possible. All the team at Engage XR, every single one of the people that are here behind the scenes, whether you see them or not, they make this show possible. So thank you to all of our volunteers and for all of you for sharing your stories with us today. So thank you.
And remember, all of you out there in the audience, you're the reason that we do this XR News show. So until next time, stand up, stand tough, and most of all, in these amazing certain times, please, please be safe wherever you are in the world.
Yay! All right.
Yay.
We did it.
We did a
Yay!
thing!
Yay!